Being overlooked by someone who never truly chose you leaves a pain that lingers quietly, yet profoundly, shaping the heart and mind in ways that are easy to dismiss but impossible to ignore. Staying with this video until the end will guide you through the process of understanding this ache, reclaiming your sense of self-worth, and learning to inhabit life fully, even when someone else's choices were not aligned with your value. By the time you finish listening, clarity will emerge. The pain is real, your feelings are valid, and the steps toward emotional freedom are entirely within your grasp. The ache begins as subtle dissonance, a quiet awareness that something essential is missing in a connection that once held promise. Messages go unanswered, invitations fade, and attention that was once consistent becomes absent. Over time, these small omissions accumulate into a persistent narrative. Perhaps I was not enough. The heart may tighten at this realization, and the mind may spin through endless questions of self-blame or confusion. But recognizing this dynamic early is a powerful act of agency. It allows the self to see patterns not as reflections of inadequacy, but as evidence of misalignment, providing the first foothold for healing. The body registers the impact even before the mind fully processes it. There may be a subtle heaviness in the chest, tension in the shoulders, or a hollow ache in the stomach, the unspoken physical echoes of being unchosen. Bringing conscious awareness to these sensations, allowing the breath to deepen, or simply noticing the body without judgment communicates safety to the nervous system. Each moment of presence reinforces the truth that the self is whole, valuable, and worthy of care, regardless of another's inability to recognize it. Healing begins as a dialogue between body and mind, anchored in the understanding that validation from others is not required to affirm your worth. Emotions that surface, sadness, frustration, longing, are not weaknesses. They are signals of investment, love, and depth of care. The first step in processing them is acknowledgement without judgment. By observing these feelings, the self begins to separate internal value from external recognition. Each act of witnessing emotion reinforces resilience, creating space for reflection, clarity, and eventually empowerment. Subscribing here becomes a gentle invitation to continue walking this path alongside a reflective, understanding space, helping to reinforce that your journey is valid and supported. The mind will naturally seek answers. Why wasn't I chosen? Was I not enough? Could I have done something differently? These questions, while natural, often feed the ache rather than resolve it. The key is to observe them without letting them define your self-worth. Awareness transforms them from accusations into insights. Patterns of neglect, lack of reciprocity, or inconsistency do not diminish your value. Recognizing this distinction is a turning point, a subtle yet profound shift in perspective that sets the stage for reclaiming energy, asserting boundaries, and realigning attention toward those who reflect genuine care. Even amidst the quiet pain, clarity begins to emerge. Each instance of being overlooked illuminates what is necessary for emotional fulfillment. Presence that is mutual, care that is consistent, and love that is chosen freely. Understanding that you deserve these things is not selfish. It is alignment with truth, integrity, and self-respect. By staying until the end of this reflection, you will gain actionable insight into how to nurture yourself, create emotional boundaries, and reclaim energy that has been lost to misaligned connections. Daily practices, even small ones, become anchors in this early stage of healing. Journaling reflections, pausing to acknowledge personal needs, or cultivating small rituals of self-recognition communicates to the nervous system, mind, and heart that presence is allowed and worth protecting. These practices do not erase the ache, but they begin to reclaim it from being a source of suffering into a source of insight and eventual empowerment. Subscribing here can serve as an ongoing companion in building these practices, offering a reflective, supportive space as awareness gradually unfolds. Ultimately, the first step in healing from someone who never chose you is understanding that the ache is real, valid, and meaningful, and that within it lies the opportunity to reclaim agency, assert boundaries, and cultivate the presence, care, and recognition that you deserve. The journey begins with awareness, observation, and gentle acknowledgement of both internal and external realities. From this foundation, the self can move into reflection, reorganization, and intentional steps toward emotional restoration. By staying present through this process, the ache transforms from a source of confusion and pain into a teacher guiding toward clarity, self-respect, and eventual freedom. Healing begins when the self decides to stop surrendering energy to someone who was never fully present or committed. The heart may have lingered in hope, the mind may have rehearsed reasons for absence, and the body may have carried tension from unmet expectations. Choosing to reclaim attention, care, and emotional presence is not an act of bitterness. It is an assertion of value. Each deliberate act of reflection, boundary setting, or self-nurturing becomes a small but powerful declaration. Energy will no longer be spent where it is not honored, and presence will be invested where it is valued. Over time, these decisions accumulate, creating an inner architecture of resilience, clarity, and self-respect. The body often mirrors emotional shifts before the mind fully catches up. Chronic tension, shallow breath, or slumping posture are subtle indicators of energy previously surrendered to someone incapable of choosing fully. Reconnecting with the body through gentle movement, deep breathing, or grounding practices communicates safety and reinforces internal authority. Each physical gesture that acknowledges your worth signals that presence, space, and energy belong to you first. Healing unfolds as a union between mind and body, each learning to inhabit life fully, even when external recognition is absent or inconsistent. Time can erode even the most cherished connections, leaving a quiet, insistent ache that whispers through every memory and moment. Being forgotten slowly is not sudden. It creeps, unnoticed at first, until the self begins to feel diminished in subtle ways that sting more deeply than abrupt absence ever could. Messages once answered with warmth go unanswered, laughter shared together fades, and the gaze that once sought the self drifts elsewhere. Every small omission, every overlooked gesture, accumulates until the heart carries a persistent weight, an invisible scar left by distance and neglect. Understanding this pain is not weakness. It is the recognition that the self was seen, valued, and loved, and now senses a quiet withdrawal of that acknowledgement. In staying with this awareness, the self can begin to navigate the ache, reclaim presence, and nurture resilience amidst fading recognition. The mind begins to replay moments where absence is felt, the unreturned texts, the invitations that never arrive, the casual forgetfulness that suddenly feels deliberate. Each instance layers subtly upon the previous, creating an internal narrative of invisibility. The self may question its worth, wondering why attention wanes and why connection seems so fragile. Yet even in this questioning, there is opportunity. The ache teaches the self to witness its own feelings without judgment, to honor the depth of its own emotional experience, and to distinguish between the external patterns of others and the internal value of the self. Awareness of this subtle erosion is the first step toward reclaiming agency over presence, voice, and energy. The body carries the ache in quiet, almost imperceptible ways. Shoulders may slump, posture may curl inward, and the chest may feel heavy with unspoken longing. These physical expressions reflect the mind's absorption of neglect and the heart's mourning of fading attention. Observing and nurturing the body with intention, through breath, gentle movement, or mindful grounding, signals to the nervous system that presence is safe and valued. Even the smallest physical interventions, lifting the gaze, opening the chest, steadying the breath, become acts of reclamation, reinforcing the truth that the self's existence is worthy of recognition, both internally and externally. Long-term patterns of being overlooked cultivate subtle internal narratives that can undermine confidence and self-esteem. Thoughts like, "I am not important," or "perhaps I was never truly valued," can echo quietly, shaping behaviors of self-effacement, hesitation, or withdrawal. Recognizing these thoughts as reflections of circumstance rather than objective truth is crucial. By challenging internalized assumptions, the self begins to reclaim emotional authority, understanding that worth does not hinge on the attention, approval, or remembrance of others. This insight becomes a cornerstone for building resilience and maintaining integrity in spaces where neglect exists. Grief emerges in ways that are slow, accumulative, and deeply human. Unlike sudden heartbreak, the ache of being forgotten gradually infiltrates daily life, coloring interactions and quiet moments with longing, sadness, or frustration. The self may notice an internal dialogue laced with subtle resentment, regret, or questioning. These emotions, though uncomfortable, signal the depth of attachment and care that once existed. By observing and naming these feelings rather than suppressing or dismissing them, the self nurtures emotional literacy and begins to integrate loss, fading recognition, and change into conscious understanding. Subscribing here offers a gentle companion in witnessing these emotions, providing a reflective space where the ache is acknowledged and honored. Amidst sorrow, the self gradually becomes aware of small but profound acts of empowerment. Choosing to show up fully even when recognition is uncertain, speaking with clarity despite hesitation, or engaging with life without relying on external validation are subtle yet transformative steps. Each deliberate act reinforces internal presence, reminding the self that visibility is not granted, it is claimed. Slowly, the self begins to inhabit spaces with confidence, acknowledging that even when others' attention fades, its own recognition of self-worth can be unwavering. Connection and empathy deepen in response to being forgotten slowly. Experiencing gradual neglect heightens sensitivity to the fragility of relationships, the impermanence of attention, and the subtlety of human emotion. The self may notice a growing compassion for others who are overlooked, unheard, or undervalued, recognizing that attention and care are often scarce commodities in a world that moves quickly. This empathy becomes both a healing balm and a guide, reinforcing the truth that emotional presence matters deeply, and that self-compassion can coexist with the quiet ache of fading attention. Daily rituals and reflection become anchors in navigating this slow loss. Journaling emotions, pausing to notice bodily sensations, practicing small acts of self-recognition, or engaging with communities that value emotional authenticity all reinforce grounding and self-affirmation. These practices do not erase the ache, but they allow it to exist alongside renewed agency, perspective, and internal validation. Over time, such consistent attention integrates the emotional experience into a larger framework of resilience and growth. Even moments of joy and recognition, however fleeting, carry amplified significance. A smile, a remembered kindness, or a subtle acknowledgement of presence can feel transformative when contrasted with prolonged neglect. These instances remind the self that visibility is not dependent solely on others' memory or attention. It can be nurtured internally, expressed deliberately, and reinforced through mindful engagement with the world. Subscribing here creates ongoing access to reflection and support, allowing the self to maintain awareness, integrate emotion, and cultivate presence even amid fading acknowledgement from others. Ultimately, the ache of being forgotten slowly teaches profound lessons about impermanence, self-worth, and emotional agency. The self learns that worth is inherent, presence is claimed rather than given, and resilience emerges quietly over time. By observing, honoring, and integrating these lessons, the self can navigate fading recognition with grace, cultivating inner strength and a capacity for meaningful connection that does not depend solely on the consistency of external attention. The ache remains, but it becomes a teacher rather than a captor, guiding the self toward awareness, empowerment, and the reclamation of emotional space. Even subtle victories, speaking truth, asserting boundaries, or simply honoring personal needs, carry profound weight in this phase. Each act reinforces the internal understanding that presence is not contingent on others' choices, and that worth exists independent of external acknowledgement. Confidence emerges organically as the self observes consistency between value, action, and awareness. This embodiment of clarity allows for resilience and emotional sovereignty that cannot be shaken by absence, indifference, or misalignment. Perspective evolves. The self no longer measures value based on someone else's choices or attention. Past attachment becomes insight, not regret. Longing becomes understanding, not self-reproach. From this grounded perspective, the heart can love fully without expectation, invest wisely without compromise, and navigate connections with discernment without fear. Subscribing here gently reinforces these insights, offering a reflective, supportive space as clarity, boundaries, and presence continue to grow. Ultimately, healing from someone who never chose you is not about erasing pain. It is about transforming it into clarity, resilience, and empowerment. Energy is reclaimed, presence is asserted, and the heart moves forward with intentionality, confidence, and unwavering self-respect. Life is no longer defined by absence or neglect. It is defined by conscious choices, alignment with values, and the deliberate cultivation of spaces, relationships, and moments that reflect authentic care and attention. The final realization is profound. Being unchosen does not diminish worth, it illuminates it. It teaches discernment, strengthens boundaries, and empowers the self to inhabit life fully. The ache, once a source of uncertainty, becomes a teacher guiding toward clarity, freedom, and emotional sovereignty. The self now moves forward grounded, confident, and fully present, capable of nurturing connections that are reciprocal, honoring, and aligned with the value it has always carried.